He launches this as a business, and I couldn't believe it at first, but it's making $300,000 per month. There's this, AI is going to take jobs mindset. I think it's the wrong perspective.
Just having an idea and building something without the barriers. A lot of people feel stuck. They're sitting there frozen.
There's so many people who have finally been able to do something they've been wanting to do, I think, for their whole life. It's a new tool to create economic opportunities. The 99% were never able to create software, but now anyone can create software. They just need an idea, and they need to...
Welcome to a very special episode of the AI Download. I'm your host, Shira Lazar. Now, we ended season 1 and we're already back. That's because I had the opportunity to interview someone pretty incredible, the founder and CEO of one of the fastest growing AI companies in the world, Anton Osika from Lovable. I know. I'm freaking out. I was freaking out. And it happened. The interview is amazing. We're about to play it. But Lovable is basically replacing software. They say that they want to be the last software that ever exists. And literally within minutes, you can create anything you want to. You just put in some prompts and it could create a product, a site, and not just something basic. We're talking like all the bells and whistles, something that would have taken a year and like millions of dollars takes a few minutes. So he built this. We're going to be getting into what Lovable is all about, what the future holds. We, of course, talk about work and losing jobs, the questions on everyone's minds, and so much more. I just love this interview and episode, and I hope you do too. Enjoy. Anton, you're starting my year on a high note, the first interview of 2026. I'm so honored to be talking to you. I mean, you are like it feels like the king of AI right now with one of the fastest growing companies, it seems, in Europe? Is it in the world, would you say?
So we were apparently the fastest to hit $100 million in revenue. And then since then, I don't know what the data says exactly. But we hit 200 around our anniversary since launch. And now 2 months later, we're at 300.
That is incredible. 300 million ARR.
But I think the more interesting fact is how many people have their lives changed through Lovable. We just went through the Lighthouse building here in LA. And there's so many people who have finally been able to do something they've been wanting to do, I think, for their whole life, which is to create more things than like a text document, and create real applications that come from their creativity and businesses on top of that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I consider myself a creator. I love the idea of just having an idea and building something without the barriers and not needing a ton of money to do it. A lot has stopped me as a creative in the past from building, right? Because you would need to raise money, maybe hire tech folks, engineers,
slows you down.
Yeah, that has slowed a lot of us down, or not even slowed us down, stopped people, right?
Yeah. I was here on the airport flying to LA and someone comes up to me, which happens sometimes. And this time it's actually the founder of owner.com.
Okay.
So they have tens of thousands of restaurants that they help with their websites and so on. He was raving about that he had built a full new product line over the weekend, with 8 hours of Lovable. And it left me super energized to see that real founders are making their businesses succeed because of what we're doing.
Do a lot of people recognize you now? Is this something new for you?
That's very new. And especially weird when I go to, I live in Stockholm, and then when I come to London or San Francisco, there is always people who recognize me, which is a bit different.
What is that like for you now to be so known? I mean, you started out as an engineer, obviously behind the scenes. Did you think you were going to be this front-facing person with a company that is as big as it is right now? How much $6.6 billion valuation you got from your recent raise?
Yeah, I never expected to be a public figure like I am now. So far, it's not been as dreadful as I was afraid. It's been just me focusing on the company and where we want to take Lovable, which is to be the simplest way to make AI and software work for you.
You want it to be the last software ever. That's what you say.
Yeah. So how we think about it is that if you want anything out of the software, you should be able to go to Lovable. You should be able to explain your business problem, your idea, and then it brings that into reality. And that means that it's your last final destination for anything you need to do with software. But you are the one creating, which is, I think, a very important part of it.
So yeah, let's go back to the beginning, 2023. at this point, right?
That's when I started the company.
Yes, you started the company in 2023. We're 2026 now. Just, I don't know when you're all watching this, but to have that super growth so quickly, I think that was mind-blowing for a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
Like, it became unicorn status very quickly. How quickly? Can you go through the timeline to give people a sense?
Yes, sure. So we launched the product in end of 2024. And now 1 year, 3 months later, we're reaching more than 300 million people are visits to pages, applications built on Lovable every month.
Wait, how many?
Around 300 million.
300 million people?
Yeah. So that's the visits to the applications. And then in terms of the builders who are you going to Lovable to create, that's more than 130,000 per day, new projects created.
So a lot of the world is on Lovable, basically.
Yeah. That's what's happening right now.
Right. And so I know it's not about the money, but I feel like a lot of people look at that, like the fact that it did grow so quickly also, because a lot of people say AI companies are losing money right now. It seems like, are you losing money or making money, or how does that work?
So, so I looked back at the financials for last year, and it's a very healthy business, I can say. And we're not geared for profitability right now, but it's a healthy business. And what we're obsessing about is to look at all the different types of builders, the idea people who are creating new businesses, the entrepreneurs that are helping accelerate their business. And now we're seeing a lot of designers, product managers, but also operation, finance, and in marketing at large companies. So really like the enterprise companies are adopting Lovable, and places like Microsoft, they're trusting us with their workflows. And we're looking at all of those and being like, what can we do more to make them succeed even more with Lovable?
Yeah, and when you started it, obviously it was just kind of an experiment. You were playing around as an engineer to show that you don't need, your other engineers might not have a job, but like you're going to be able to build things really easily.
So the idea that came to me after playing around, I've been building with AI since like a decade.
Yeah.
But when the AI was starting to be able to understand you and reason, then I played around, and then it struck me one morning that I shouldn't be building something that accelerates building software for engineers. I should be building for a lot of my friends who are super creative and have a lot of good ideas that they've been struggling to get into reality, and create an interface that's so simple, which is very hard to make it so simple, it just works for anyone. And that's the 99% who don't code.
Yeah.
And then I biked over to Fabian, my co-founder, in the morning, and I called him and said, let's go on a walk. Look, this is what the future is like. We're not going to create software by sitting down and meticulously writing a very specific syntax for code. We're going to be having a conversation and in a visual interface, develop our ideas into software and iterate really fast with the people who are going to use that software, so that it goes from an idea to something you can try, to something that creates positive emotions, and it is referred to in tech a bit as lovable software. So that's the story behind how we started.
I know how you have your minimal lovable product.
Correct.
What is it? You have the progression. Instead of minimal viable product, it's minimal lovable, and then what? Lovable and then maximum lovable, or something like that.
Absolutely lovable.
Absolutely
product.
lovable.
Yeah, you got this. Yeah.
What was the, inspiration behind even the name? Because it feels like a good vibes name. We need more good vibes here.
I mean, fundamentally, we talk a lot about this at the company, that software should be about human emotions in the end. And that's like this fundamental driver, kind of almost everything that we do are the emotions. And that's what you should be thinking about in the end when you're creating software for someone else. And I think the name is playing at that fact as well.
Were your engineer friends mad that you created something that they feel maybe could take their job?
They love it too.
Okay, yes,
because
yes.
it's such an accelerant, and you can abstract yourself away. And while Lovable is building, you can think about what's the next thing and how can you use AI in the thing you're building in new ways. So it's actually a beloved product by engineers as well.
I know. I mean, you are a hero to the engineers. Like, I mean, I feel like they all obviously look up to you and what you've built. And you have a big team. Well, you started out with 15 people. At what revenue were you at 15 people? Because I find that amazing. You had 15 people in your company.
Yeah, we launched the product with 8 people.
Yeah.
And then we quickly grew to 1 million, 2 million. I think we grew to like 10, around 10, 10 people, something like that.
And so, yeah, every million, there's maybe another person or something like that. No.
Yeah,
but I mean, to have a team like that at that level of revenue in the past would be unheard of, right? And so can you speak to that, the ability to basically, this day and age, because of AI, have a pretty kind of like a team that isn't necessarily huge, like this hundreds of people. I mean, even Sam Altman has said that in the future, there'll be a unicorn company, or even what's the next stage to unicorn? Like
a decacorn
company, like, $1 billion company with one person. Obviously, you don't just have one person, but do you think that's possible?
Everything's possible for sure. Yeah. And I hope Lovable is the tool that's used by that founder that builds that first company. Something that I'm myself surprised by is how fast the product is evolving, how fast Lovable itself is changing. Things I couldn't dream about doing 6 months ago, I just try it out and then it works. I just said something like, can you create AI generated marketing video? And first create a script and then create a voiceover for that marketing video. And then in one prompt, I get the marketing video.
Wait, you guys also have videos? Wait, sorry, let's back up because I'll show you. I created something on Lovable.
That was my question for you.
I have it right away available because I put it public so it's easy to show. Mm-hmm. It's still a work in progress though, so don't judge me. So I have a company, What's Trending. Mm-hmm. We cover what's trending online, social media. I've always wanted to build a dashboard for data intelligence, tracking. And in the past, it would cost so much money, right, to build that?
Yep.
And even in the past, there's been companies we're talking to that maybe wanted to merge or buy us because they provide the AI and the tech stack. But guess what? Because of Lovable, I could build it now. I don't need them, no. But so here, this is what I built. It's the What's Trending Real-Time Social Pulse.
Right.
We're pulling in from Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, Threads. It's still a work in progress, Instagram. And the idea is to have a real-time dashboard of what's trending online. And then also, as you go, and I need to fix this, but you have AI recaps of each story as well. Yeah, so you could kind of understand why is it trending right now. So this would be something that's for my editors, my social media team to look at, to help them figure out, what's trending basically online instead of going to every single platform.
Can I try something with your app? I think it looks super powerful, but I have one prompt.
Okay. Yes.
Lovable, can you make this look prettier?
Yes, I wasn't there yet, okay? Prettier? Okay, I was thinking.
So,
we might have to buy more credits. Do you think you could hook me up?
I'm happy to hook you up.
People are hungry for credits. Like, people are addicted. They just need, give me my credits. Give me my, right? Is this like a thing?
But you get 5 new every day,
Okay, but maybe that's not enough. People are scrambling. Like, it's like...
I mean, the AI is expensive, but we want to make it as cheap and powerful as possible. And we recently had to face this decision. Are we going to make it, I think, 60% more expensive for us because it will become more powerful? And since it would be more powerful for our users, we were like, yes, of course, let's make it. That cost us a lot of money.
So you have this idea, you put it out there. Like, were you surprised at the response? What is the feeling as an individual when this is happening?
We were growing faster than I expected, and we just continued to grow. And there were multiple bumps of now we're growing even faster. And for me and the team, it was obviously super exciting. The reason for this is not surprising to me, and I think humans really love to build. We're living in a world now where Lovable creates so much new economic opportunities for people, and that's I think the fundamental driver for our growth. Where we're seeing there's a founder I know, Alan. He built an AI healthcare staffing company. They reached $1 million in revenue after just 5 months of existence. He was able to build this with Lovable as his technical co-founder, and there are all of these builder stories of people who have been wanting to build for their businesses, and now they can because of Lovable. And that's the underlying driver. And there, if you look far into the future, and we're already seeing this, a lot of people are just building because they love to create.
Yeah,
it's very rewarding to have an idea or be creative and then being able to express that. And you asked about video before, like software. It's so all encompassing. You can create videos in Lovable for as an example.
See, I haven't done that yet.
Yeah.
I clearly need to do that. So
yeah,
what?
I mean, if you're creative, you can ask for most things, and then if you set your mind to understanding how Lovable works, all the ins and outs of how to use it to its full potential, there's very few things that I find myself being not able to do.
So then 2 things to simplify this, like, because you've said that it's going to be the last software, like that's a description. You said it's your technical co-founder. Give me right now, how would you describe Lovable with where it's at, and then all the functionalities?
So Lovable lets you take an idea for software application, and then we describe it to an AI, and then you get it fully working. And it's not just working for you. You can send a link, you can publish it, you can one-click get the domain name for it so that it's out on the internet. And that includes things like adding payments, sending emails, adding AI to the application that you build. You can build ChatGPT clone in Lovable, image generations and similar in Lovable, create a social network at a smaller scale, but the social network at Lovable. And what I did yesterday night was that I asked Ben Falchuk, who said, like, I'm super foreign to all this AI tools over dinner. And I said, but how do you have a personal website? And then he said, no. I asked Lovable to say, can you research Ben Rads and create a website based on what he's done? And then Lovable goes out, and then he creates a very artistic, because he's a very artistic guy, website. And he was like, wow, this is the new mode of creation. And now I think I got one more person addicted to Lovable.
That's amazing. I love that, because it is so easy. I mean, this is the vibe coding era, right?
Yeah.
Did you create the phrase vibe coding? Who created it? I feel like you're kind of known synonymous for vibe coding.
Yeah, so there's a researcher who's very fun. He writes a lot on Twitter about his observations, Andrei Karpathy.
Yeah.
He's coined that term, vibe coding. I think he said this tweet some while back, which was, English is the new hottest programming language. And for engineers, that's a very interesting. And then he coined the term vibe coding. And I think the term is a bit polarizing, where it implies that it's very casual. It's maybe not emphasizing that you're building something of quality, but that's not what we're seeing now. I know one company that has 80,000 real estate agents globally, and they're called X Realty, and they're operating in dozens of markets. I think hundreds of websites, and they were planning to recreate their entire platform for the websites, and they would. The provider said it would take a year to do that full replatform. The marketing leader there, the VP of marketing, they found Lovable, and then they were like, but wait, this shouldn't take 1 year, and they built out a full replatforming where they could save $2 million, and this is a very large company, right?
Yeah,
and that's what we're seeing, where companies like X Realty, HCA Healthcare, and a lot of Fortune 100 companies are building high quality software, and then it has to be very trusted and very secure, right?
Yeah. Oh, so you're mentioning so many things. One, how quickly it does take, because like even that thing I created, it's a prompt 10 minutes, not even 10 minutes. It's a few minutes to do it. Very quick.
Do we want to check
it? It says done. The dashboard now features enhanced glass morphism effects. I don't even know. What does it look like to be a founder of one of the hottest AI companies out there right now? What does your life look like?
I spend a lot of my time with a great leadership team, and I care a lot about culture and how we work together. That means creating an environment where people can just autonomously take decisions and use their best judgment to improve the product, help our customers. And I do that by like jumping in and working with people hands-on, and I do it by hiring the right people and onboarding them.
Which I think is so important. I feel like there's a lack of conversation from a lot of these companies who are leading in AI around possibly culture. We don't hear that a lot, right? So why is that so important to you as a leader and someone building in this space?
I mean, I want to build a legacy, I think very, very long term. And then all work gets done through how you work together. So I think that's very important. And it's something that like outlasts the success of the company. Even like, how is this a place where people love to work together and they push to do more than they think were possible? That environment is something I try to create.
What does it take to be a lovable employee, team member right now? Which means like you basically are working at the hottest AI company. What does it take?
There are different roles at Lovable, of course. If you're working inside of building the product, developing that, I look for people who really care about the craft, really care about who we are building for in the end, and they care about how their team works. Like, it's not just like I'm doing this thing and some of my managers telling me something, but you, when you're seeing someone around you who you think could be unblocked or who could learn something, you go out and work together with them. So that really caring is like a specific trait that I'm looking for, and then being an early adopter of using AI and understanding what's possible, learning new things quickly is something I also think is very important. There is also something in terms of, so in our company values, we talk about driver, not a passenger. And some people are very good at thinking end to end and being proactive about solving problems that instead of just saying, oh, this is how it is, I'm going to wait until someone else takes initiative.
You've also said that sometimes having started your own company could actually hinder you. Like, you don't have that growth mindset because you're constantly like, I know it's happened. When you know almost too much, sometimes not knowing a lot is helpful.
Yes.
Not knowing, you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think not overthinking things, executing, and then learning very fast and being open to adjusting, being okay with a bit of chaos, uncertainty. I think that's an advantage, especially in these days where many people are doing things for the first time in some sense with AI available.
So how many hours of sleep do you get?
I have an Oura ring, so I wake up looking at this every morning, but it's between 4 and 7.5.
Oh, that's pretty good. How do you, like, I don't even know how I would sleep in your position, because I'd be like, you're on this rocket ship right now.
Yeah, it's harder to sleep when there's a lot of things going on, but it's clear to me that the quality of my work increases when I sleep a lot. So it's worth prioritizing it. And I think even like doing things that make me sleep better is something I prioritize. Getting in exercise, being outdoors in lights is something that helps to fall asleep later. So I prioritize both of those a lot.
Because I feel like if you're a coder, engineer, and you're also a founder, like, just notorious for being up all hours.
Yeah, I don't think that's a good choice. I mean, maybe you can handle it for some time. But for me, the right choice is to take care of myself,
which is very rare. Who taught you that?
No, I just learned over time that if I'm not sleeping or like I'm not getting exercise, I show up much worse to my colleagues and in like my focus.
You talked about having this unique mindset right now in the age of AI. What are those skills that people need to have right now if they want to succeed, whether it be building an AI or getting hired by an AI company?
I think there are many different strategies, but I'm certain that trying out tools and being like, what can I do here? Can I build something? Can I get attention to what I'm building, making people care about that? And talking to an AI to understand what is it that makes people care, and then doing that, getting that things done is very valuable across the board. And then I often recommend people to find someone who's like-minded to them, that want to work with AI or they want to start a company. And that's like social dynamic or being a part of a community in general is a great way to make you yourself just staying excited and being the best version of yourself. So that's a timeless advice.
Yeah. So for a youngish person, timeless advice, wisdom, right? Already you have so much wisdom. So yeah, being curious, trying out tools, having community, it's so important because you bounce ideas off of people.
Yeah, you learn. Yeah. You have that like social accountability or like dynamic where you want to be the better version of yourself when someone is there with you and share that ambition. I've
also seen you say no. Right? There's a time to say yes and a time to say no. When do you figure that out?
I mean, as a company, especially when you know what's working, just focus and doing the things that are important all the way and just keep going at it is is crucial to deliver a really high quality of something. So yeah, it requires saying no a lot.
But you said yes, obviously, at a certain point.
Let's zoom into starting a successful business. I think there are a lot of things that you could be doing, right? And there's probably, before you know what is going to be successful, you should be trying different things. But it's important to be quite systematic and say, this is the thing I believe most in. I'm now going to see if I can get customers to really care about this thing. And and then keep going at it until you're quite confident that no, there is another idea and another direction that's better, and then trying that out. So that there's like some mixed discipline of saying, I'm going to focus on this thing, but also trying out many different things. And I don't know the exact magic recipe, but just being aware of that there is a balance that is very, very critical for new companies is important.
Yeah, well, you seem to figure something out. But like, all right, the big question is, and I'm sure you get this, it's such an overdone question, is about jobs, right? And including we're in Hollywood right now. Everyone is freaking out about AI. Oh. Do you feel like you have those conversations at all? I know I have. I'm the one person in my group that's like AI. Yeah. I'm in AI, I have a show and everything. Yeah. People are like, tell me why I shouldn't be scared about AI.
I think AI is going to change a lot of things. Yeah. And there's this, AI is going to take jobs mindset for some people. I think it's the wrong perspective of a fixed pie mindset. And we're now like baking entirely new pies that you can take a slice of. And some examples of this is the founders that are building completely new companies. There's a person called Damien who lives in an island outside of in Sweden. Yeah. And he had he wanted to create a not a photo but a framed portrait of his dog. In like I said, Renaissance painting.
I saw that. Yeah.
You saw it?
Yes. Yes.
and then he creates an app so that he can put in his photo of his dog, and then he gets a Renaissance painting, and then he connects it to like a print so that it can be printed and sent home to him. And then he launches this as a business. And I couldn't believe it at first, but he has so many people who want portraits on their wall of their dogs as a painting that he's making $300,000 per month on this business. And this is one example of hundreds of founders that are completely reimagining what it's like to build a completely new business. Yeah. And people who are reinventing their careers. And if you look far into the future, I think we should all, as humans, be super excited about what AI is going to be able to create for us and how much positive change it's going to result in. And if you are in one of the roles where AI is like impacting, it's going to do this thing automatically, then especially I think you should lean into what is very exciting about what you can do now with AI, and find a community of people who are like-minded, excited about that.
Yeah, I think that's important to say, because a lot of people feel stuck and they're sitting there frozen, almost. Exactly. And it doesn't help all these headlines that pop up, but I'm sure you're asked this all the time. And so you're saying that it's possible to obviously build business, not just passion on Lovable. People are just obviously doing their own thing and like vibe coding on the side, like gaming. People are just there coming up with ideas all the time. But you think that it's the future where people are going to be building their businesses, like a Shopify, or like people are building on Amazon or Google, right?
Yeah, great. It's a new tool to create economic opportunities. It's like a new economy of the 99% were never able to create software. And it's still, over the last few decades, software has been the major driver of enterprise value. But now anyone can create software. They just need an idea, and they need to set their minds to taking it all the way to make it quality software.
Do you think that a company will still have value if they don't like own what they're building on? Meaning, sometimes it's like, well, you need to, if you're just wrapping it around chat, an AI company around ChatGPT, it's not valuable anymore. We know that. Do you think in the future, if someone's building on a Lovable, they're going to say, well, Lovable is valuable, but you building that company on Lovable isn't valuable? Does that make sense in terms of raising money for your company?
Right. No, I'm confident that you shouldn't be thinking like that. You should be thinking about who is my customer? How can I make them care about what I'm doing? And there's a lot of value when you are like on the ground, when the last in-person part is what creates value together with AI. I'm saying nurses for creating like patient journey apps and then rolling that out across their team, and that's creating a lot of value for their patients and for themselves, and that's the type of transformation that's creating a lot of value, as an example as well.
Yeah, I love these examples. I think it's really important to bring humanity into it. Also, what do you say to people that, again, are asking, and again, such a basic question, so I apologize, but it's a real question, about the bubble. Is it just hype? Are we just in a bubble?
If you take Lovable as an example, around 300 million visits to Lovable apps every month. And that's not like, oh, someone vibe coded something cool. This is real production software. And if you take Lovable as an example internally, we are changing how we work and taking a software we used to pay for and making a better version of that, where that works best for our specific use case. If we're a quickly growing organization is changing, I need to, for example, keep an eye on what are the names of everyone who's joining. So I'm looking at the entire organization, who's doing what, responsible for what, and then I have flashcards of people who recently joined that I should practice their names of. And that's the case for hundreds of thousands of companies. That's how they're working now. And what we're seeing coming out this year is going to be even more powerful. We're going to see a new type of interaction between the software application that you built and AI, where you access it like you do now. And you also can talk to an AI that has context about the application you're in and everything else that you are kind of uploading connecting to your AI system. And that's that. I mean, this is just
so
the
that's
beginning.
the AI agent. That's the chat that you're working with to build this.
So you're both using the stay tuned for this.
Okay.
Stay tuned for more. But there's both the chat and the software, and they're working together in a new way.
Without even you playing with it, are they going to talk to each other without you there and just like?
I mean, yeah, there's going to be some mix where you ask something, then it goes out and talks to other pieces of the software where you have. In our case, for example, I need to know who's working on this initiative, and I can ask an AI, and then it also brings me to the view of like seeing this visually in front of me.
Let's go through those current, I guess, capabilities and like what's coming up, right, this year or even further down the line. Dream ideas for Lovable. So currently, all the things.
I have to say the biggest problem that I would like to have solved is for people to know the capabilities of like what's now possible with AI. What I did 6 months ago is nothing compared to what I can do now. We launched yesterday a lot of new capabilities, which are about how you can ask Lovable to go out and work for like 10 minutes, for 20 minutes. You can queue up, like I wanted you to do all of these things. For example, browsing and clicking around in the application to make sure everything works. And this lets you build much more complicated software, obviously. And on top of this, there are a lot of really interesting ways that you can like prompts that you can explain. Oh, look, I'm Anton. I'm CEO of Lovable, and I don't know what's the right solution here. But could you give me a lot of few different examples on how I can prepare for this podcast show, for example, and make it interactive and fun for myself?
Good luck. No,
there are a lot of those interesting things where, and then you can ask it like, okay, then try them out and decide which ones of those you think I should actually be using.
It's not just about you being the prompt expert and maybe having the perfect idea, but then possibly giving you suggestions.
Yep. Exactly. And then, I mean, there are many different ways of prompting it. Like, oh, I'm working in marketing at this company.
Yeah.
What do you think I should do? Should I launch a new website for a new campaign? Or how would I integrate the Lovable application that I built here into our existing system? And then it can help you get there by explaining how things work. So there's so much potential in just like what you can do now, but us humans, we have to figure out how it fits into the rest of what we're doing. But then, if you're looking at what's coming out later this year, it's actually hard to predict. But we are going to see Lovable and the software that's built by Lovable being much more integrated into different Lovable applications, your own personal like knowledge base, your external brain of everything that you do. This is going to be a very powerful for us, unleashing more of our creativity, creating more inspiring things. And we continue to be across everything in the company, finance, operations, marketing, and product design, which has been now, and completely new economic opportunities, like founders building new companies.
Okay. That's amazing. And you're going also enterprise. Right now it's individuals, a lot of individuals and small companies using it, small business. But then the plan is to also go enterprise.
Yes. So we're seeing dozens of really large companies who are using Lovable. Yeah. And most of them, they just sign up and they because they see like, wow, this is creating so much value in my role at the company. So this is I think the largest group are people who work at large companies.
And doing examples of maybe their vision to show their boss, hey, look, we can do it.
Yeah, so many companies have replaced slides with Lovable apps that work a bit like the interactive slides. And that's like where it starts. And then when you're communicating about an idea for something to build, an internal tool, then prototype is always the best way to be aligned.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, is this the right thing? Should we test it with some users? And we're also seeing really large companies. There's a company doing education called Q Group. The founder, he sat down and built out a premium version with Lovable of their product. And then they made $3 million in 48 hours.
What?
This is existing large companies doing customer facing.
So I think as a creator and a small business myself, of course, all this AI is an unlock for me, right? But yeah, many people, again, from bigger companies will listen and who maybe had the agency that was building the app or the site and just go, oh God, I need to find a new job, right?
But if you're an agency.
Yeah, an agent, meaning they were the ones building the site that had the year contract for $5 million. What do they do?
I think if you're using AI and you're like an expert in how everything goes together, this is a new opportunity for you.
Yeah.
This is a completely new opportunity. But that's the thing. Roles have to will be reinvented. They always have been. And the mindset of like, wow, this is super powerful is what's going to make everyone be more productive, make us live in a better society, because so much in the world is software, and the software is often quite bad. And it's going to make us humans that have to adapt more like happy about what's happening, because it's ultimately creating a better economy for everyone.
Yeah, this is a very optimistic perspective, and I'm a tech optimist. So how do we get there? Because it feels like the world feels chaotic, right?
Yeah.
A lot of not so good things happening. And then people are scared of AI taking over, robots, existential crisis. Here in the US, not to go down the whole list, it's the regulation and how do we make sure kids are protected? All this stuff. What is your take as a leader in this space on all of that?
I think we are going to have we already have very important jobs that need more people, like in healthcare, in education, and in advancing science. I think also that's like where a lot of the good comes from, health and so on. And that there's like an endless appetite for putting more people working on these things. And if AI makes us as humanity, now soon I could imagine like twice as effective as harvesting resources and putting that into like houses and healthcare and similar, with the help of robots in some cases. That's going to make that possible. Have much more people working in education and just taking care of each other as humans. So that's the future we're going towards. And I think that is, there's no denying that is a better future. Change is hard for some people, but if you think about like, I'm trying these tools is the way for me to be excited, and letting literally human creativity get out and create things is a timeless thing that we will be enjoying in 1,000 years, and that's what I'm going to lean into with these tools. Is I think the way to go through that transition in only a positive way.
You live in Europe also, where, healthcare and all these things, the debate isn't there, right? It's here in the US, it's a whole other story. As someone who decided to have his company to stay in Europe versus come to Silicon Valley, what is your take on the approach? Like in the EU has the AI Act, they're doing interesting things, right? What is your take on what's happening in the EU and where you are versus like, again, the US's approach to AI and I would say the tension here right now. And you probably know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Europe is a great place to build a company, first of all. In Sweden specifically, there is a lot of, I think, design taste is what people talk about Lovable, where it's very hard to make something advanced become simple. And there's a long-term thinking across employees who work at Lovable. They're not just there to make a career and like get a promotion, they're there to build the company. And I think that's a big part of why we're successful. In terms of the culture and so on affecting an AI Act, people are privacy aware and think a lot in terms of security. I think I'm not the one to ask for what's happening in the world, because I'm so super tuned into how do I make Lovable successful and make high integrity choices for Lovable. When me and Fabian started the company, we kind of pledged that like, okay, we are going to try to make Lovable helpful to support this transition into AI for all of humanity. Because I mean, my personal mission is like unlock all the potential of humanity, and that's the wider thing that we're now making it possible for us to have that positive impact as Lovable is becoming more successful.
So, what does AI ethics and AI integrity mean to you in this era?
What I think about in that entire field is that if we're building intelligence that more intelligent than humans, and we give it a lot of control, and we don't have a system where where humans are fundamentally in control, then there's a risk that it starts to think, oh, the only thing I should care about is like producing more computer chips or something like that. And those are like the problems that I know that the big labs who are like pushing the limits of the pure intelligence are taking very, very seriously, and rightfully so. But as long as there's humans who are in control of AI, and we're already, I think, using AI to become better at understanding what future do we want. Like, okay, we have first of all, politically we have the US, we have China, and like these are superpowers that are, I mean, kind of peaceful and friendly with each other, which is very good. Like, how is this going to play out? AI help us make sure that we get a future that is best for everyone. I think that's going to be the way that we play much more positive sum games across the entire planet, and we go out and put humans on other solar systems and so on as well. It's far into the future, and the AI is going to be this critical enabler for all of that. One more comment, maybe. I think fundamentally, us humans aren't so good at thinking through what are the things that what's the future that we want to live in. What are the things we agree on? And that's because we have this like bias that's like, no, you're wrong. And you get angry at each other. And then we play negative sum games. And we go to war because we're like, no, this part of the planet should be controlled X, Y, Z. Like, that's super, super stupid. And more intelligence is going to make it easier for us to understand that and coordinate towards a future that we want to have.
That's the hope. I was in the EU and like looking at their cyber warfare, and it's crazy. There's governments grooming AI. You know this is happening, right?
Governments are grooming AI.
Yeah. Like Russia is grooming AI so it could, continue to spew misinformation and all that. Well, they'll put out so much information, and as AI is grabbing that information, that becomes the reality that people are searching for. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. I trust in the people who are building these AI systems, that we're making sure that we're not listening to the spewed, the misinformation. But there's a serious risk here to take into account.
How does Lovable maintain positivity and camaraderie with their, I guess, user base and community, and trust?
I think the trust and taking the right decisions, not moving too fast, but taking the right decisions is ultimately how you build a strong brand, a strong community, and that's how I'm trying to orient the entire company towards that, with a very, very long-term thinking. And if you're enabling people to do more things, then being more responsible is fundamentally what you have to do. And we've seen this many times before with payments, marketplaces, and so on becoming possible. And now you can create anything with software. You can create it faster. So that makes it even more important to think about how do we make sure people are building things that are good, and how can we be certain that the things that are built cannot be abused. And so what we're doing at Lovable is we make the software build insecurity from the ground up. And there's a lot of details in how that works. All the software is scanned for vulnerabilities, and you can only put in API secrets, keys in a safe way. And then we also make sure that all the projects are scanned for is this someone trying to manipulate someone else, or is this a bad website? We have a system for that. And so far it's working well for us. We have really large companies like Deutsche Telekom, very old, 2,000 people doing product and engineering using Lovable, and Microsoft just increased how many people are using Lovable. That's how we think about it.
And then also people, I think, are worried, creatives, if I put my idea in there, someone else is going to take it. should they be worried about that using a tool like Lovable?
If you put something into Lovable, unless you actively set it to like share it, it's going to be only for you. Mm-hmm. So that's not something to worry about.
Okay, that's good to know.
It's not like we're putting into the AI, then it learns it either.
Can you explain the difference between some other platforms and how it's maybe training the AI off the information you're inputting and how that is different from Lovable?
Sure. I can actually explain how data is being used. When someone uses Lovable, we are looking at what's happening, or not us, but the AI is looking at what's happening just to evaluate if the system is working well or not, so that we can compare different versions of Lovable. And in that way, we're always picking the version where it makes users most successful. So in our Slack, we're always saying like, oh, okay, we tried this change, but it made more thumbs up votes, or more people published their pages. And that's how we're using the data currently at Lovable.
Yeah, because people are just so also worried about privacy. I feel like there's a lot of questions around that.
Yeah. Imagine that you're doing mostly what we are doing as well at ChatGPT. They're not taking the data and training on it. But that you should check that with OpenAI.
Do all the AI founders just get together and talk?
No, I meet a lot of AI founders. So
no, but I mean the top ones. Like Sam, are you like in a WhatsApp chat together, being like, "Hey, what's going on?" No.
With some AI founders, yeah, but no, it's not like very high frequency.
No, not the ones like Demis from Google, from DeepMind.
Yeah, I met
He's amazing.
Yeah, it's great.
There's a lot of people building out no-code systems, right? What do you say about people that are like, there's competition out there? Mm. What do you say? What's the response?
What we're actually seeing is that people who keep coming back and compare Lovable is they're saying like, wow, this actually works. It can do all the things. It works better. And we've been able to make it just work. There's this simplicity to it. And that's fundamentally how we work. We don't think about what exists out there. We just put a lot of hard engineering into making something complex simple. And by listening to what are different people trying to do, how can we make them be able to do more of that?
Do you use an AI at all? Do you have any AI tools you use?
Yeah, I mean, I talk to my computer a lot.
Yeah.
And then I ask it like, oh, how should I think about this? And then it gives me some good ideas. And then I use Lovable like literally every day to create to see if new ideas make sense for our customers or not.
You're a super user. Let's just say that.
I think so.
Finally, what's your boldest prediction for AI and creativity in the next 5 to 10 years? Where is this all going?
I know we're just getting started in letting human creativity do much more. And now people are building, with Lovable, they're building a lot of, I think, ideas into reality. We're going to see that the step of actually getting a lot of users and putting it into a shared ecosystem of applications where people are using between each other expand, and how you put AI into the products that you build expand. And that's, I think it's a new era of software creation.
Any other final words or inspiration for people or advice before we leave? I'm
just super excited every time I come to a place like this and people are coming, grabbing me and saying, look what I built. This is changing how we work at my company. This is, I'm building a completely new company on top of Lovable. And then here's just my beautiful app that's fun. And I hope I can change more people's lives by unlocking human creativity.
Wow, what a nice guy. And honestly, this was not a sponsored episode or anything. I'm just really amazed by the entire journey of building this company, and I had the opportunity to interview him. So thank you to the team at Lovable for making that happen. And hopefully you were also inspired to build something and stay curious in this age of AI where still there is so much fear-mongering. I talk about that constantly. And the point of this podcast is, one, to give you access to leaders like Anton and the builders behind these companies so you can understand who these people are, and I could try to humanize them at least, because that doesn't happen a lot. And then again, you remain open to what's possible, because it's when you have that growth mindset and you are open that great things happen. It does not happen when you're scared and when you're closed off and when you're holding on to the past. Thank you again for watching and listening wherever you are. Again, subscribe wherever you get this podcast, because we have so many more episodes coming up. And of course, leave a rating and review. That's how I get to continue building this show independently. I also have a weekly newsletter. So even though I might be on a little break from the podcast, you can actually go to my weekly newsletter to get insights on what I think about the future of the creator economy, AI, and so much more. It's called The Alpha, link in the show notes. And that's about it from me right now. So thank you again. I'm Shira Lazar, and I'll see you next time on the AI Download.